Welcome to the Explainer. So today, we're going to break down a pretty wild cyber attack on a massive American company. It's a story that really shows you just how fragile digital security can be, even for the biggest of the big players. You know, it's the question we always ask when a huge company hits the headlines for a data breach. It just seems impossible, doesn't it? But as we're about to see, sometimes all it takes is one tiny, invisible crack in the armor. So how did it happen? Let's dig in. And just so we're all on the same page about the scale we're talking about here, the target was Cox Enterprises. This is not some small startup. We're talking about a media, telecom, and automotive services conglomerate. Their annual revenues, $23 billion. I mean, this is a true corporate giant.
All right, so what actually went down? Let's get right into the specifics of the breach itself, and the best place to start is the timeline. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the dates here. The hackers got into the system over a 6-day stretch in the middle of August. But Cox, they didn't even know someone was in there until September 29th. That's more than a month of total silence where the attackers basically had the run of the place.
And this wasn't some attack on their public website, you know? The hackers went deep, right into the company's engine room, its back-office operations platform. This is the critical software that manages the core of the business, which makes an intrusion like this incredibly serious.
Okay, so that brings us to the million-dollar question. How would they even get in? And the method they used, well, that's what makes this story so important for cybersecurity everywhere.
The attackers used something called a zero-day vulnerability. Think of it like this. You're trying to defend your house, right? But the bad guy has a key to a door you literally didn't even know was there. That's a 0-day. It's a secret flaw, totally unknown to the people who made the software, which means there are zero defenses against it until after it's already been used. And look, this isn't just us guessing. This comes straight from the horse's mouth, Cox's own data breach notification. They flat out confirm that the attackers used a previously unknown security flaw. A flaw that not even the software giant Oracle had found yet. And get this, we're not talking about some obscure program nobody's ever heard of. Oracle e-Business Suite is an absolute workhorse for major corporations all over the globe. So that secret key the hackers found, it didn't just open one door, it had the potential to open thousands.
Okay, so if the weapon was a secret 0-day, who was the one holding it? Let's talk about the group that stepped up to take the credit.
Now, Cox didn't name any names in their official statements, but a notorious ransomware gang called Clop, well, they weren't shy about it. They claimed responsibility in the most direct way you can imagine, by dumping the stolen data on their website on the dark web. And when you look at this timeline, you see a really clear pattern emerge. This was not a one-off for Clop. These guys are specialists. Year after year, they find and exploit these incredibly powerful 0-day flaws in popular software, especially the kinds of tools used for moving files and running a business. They have turned this into their entire business model. All right, let's talk about the fallout, because this one tiny flaw created this massive ripple effect that went way beyond just a single company. Remember that secret key we talked about? Well, because it fit a very, very popular lock, Cox was nowhere near the only victim. The exact same Oracle vulnerability was used to hit a whole list of other huge organizations, including names like Logitech, the Washington Post, and even Harvard University. And it's so important to remember that behind these big company names, there are actual people. At Cox Enterprises alone, we're talking about the personal information of nearly 9,500 individuals, employees, contractors, you name it, all exposed. And yeah, offering free identity theft protection, that's pretty standard procedure these days. But what it really highlights is the real-world consequence, right? For thousands of people, this breach means at least a year of just anxiously watching their credit reports, wondering if their personal data is going to be used against them. And all of this leaves us with this final, kind of chilling thought. This wasn't a case of someone forgetting a security update or using a weak password. Cox got hit by a totally invisible weapon. And it really forces us to ask, in a world where the next major threat is completely unknown until the very moment of attack, is anyone really safe? What does being secure even mean anymore?